This is a wonderful event to recognize the retirees, and I just want you to know that it's a small gesture of appreciation from the college, from your colleagues. It's in no way can match the effect you've had on so many lives. There are countless numbers of people out there, out in the world, whose lives have been changed because of you all. They're walking around, their lives are different because of you. And that's one of the best parts about working in education, is you can affect people in a positive way. And you all did that probably better than anybody in this industry, I'll tell you. So, let's move forward. Today, we honor and recognize the 2020 and the 2021 Landmark College retirees. I'm going to list them, then we're going to have a video for tributes, and then individuals will come up to give a tribute to the retirees, okay? Ann McCloskey, Mark Higgins, Cindy Tolman, Debbie Hayward, Susan Frischberg, Liz Cooper, Joyce Rogers, Patrice Nolan, Katherine Carmen, Lena John, Steve Carmichael, Chris Arietta, Ann Wheeler, who's not with us, Ned Olmsted, Denise Higgins, Jeff Burgess, Deb Berigo, Tom Hinckley, Kathy DeLessio, Jim Balcom. Today we recognize these wonderful people. And now we roll the video for some of the tributes, is that right? All right, I'll take a seat, we'll watch the video, and then we'll have individuals come up to give some tributes. Thank you.
This is a tribute for Professor Ann McCloskey. I'm Sylvegi Schmalsky, a member of the Liberal Studies Department, and I think I can speak for the rest of the department to say that we really miss you, Ann. You've given so much to the college and to the department over the years, teaching many, many psychology courses and getting students interested in this area. You've also taken a leadership role with the BALST, the first bachelor's degree ever at Landmark, so that was a pioneering activity. You've advised students, and most recently you contributed significantly to the bachelor's in psychology, which is turning out to be an important program for some of our students. So thank you for all of that. On a personal level, I just really miss you. I miss our chats. I miss you popping into my office at the end of the day. I miss the personal connection we had and the coffee in your office that you would be brewing on a Friday afternoon. I certainly appreciate everything that you've done on a personal and professional level, and I hope that your retirement is as enriching as what you helped to build at Landmark. Congratulations, Ann.
Joyce, we share a long history at Landmark College, and I'm honored to be the official rememberer for your retirement. I want to start our sort of journey through memory lane here. When our offices were back in the music practice rooms, and we crammed ourselves and our students, and sometimes our students' families and their dogs, into these tiny little spaces. We were both starting out then and helping each other out, you especially. I want to remember those beautiful posters that you created for my first attempts at the drama club. I still have them. I want to remember when we used to have an arts and humanities department, and you developed our art history curriculum. I want to remember when you taught us all about the importance of weight shift in the archaic Greek kouros statue. How simply by moving the weight from the back foot to the front foot, you created independence, and a sense of forward momentum. I want to remember when you took over the leadership of the humanities department and helped it to develop and broaden its scope with your leadership. Take on new members, undertake new challenges, as you yourself developed courses on modernism and the utopias and continued with art history. I want to recognize the hard work that you did, struggling on to complete your doctorate over the reorganization of your graduate school, how you took a sabbatical and finally got the thing done, and we all celebrated and rightly called you Dr. Rogers. And now you look back on a career well spent with students who have learned so much under your guidance. And, like the Kuros statue, you place your left foot forward, weight shift, and all of a sudden, change, independence, into the future. Congratulations, Dr. Joyce Rogers.
It's a great honor to me to talk about Deb Hayward. I got to know Deb quite well over 17 years ago when the coaching department began. And Deb and Lynn Sperry and I were fortunate enough to work with Karen Boutell, and we spent a lot of time together. I began to recognize Deb's incredible sense of humor, how kind and gentle and soft-spoken, and I would say quietly intelligent. Overall, I think my major feeling about her is that she is an excellent coach. And a lot of times that's something you don't have an opportunity to observe. But a few years ago, right before, while Lynn and I were still working at the college and Deb, we did a program for parents during Family Weekend where we introduced them to coaching and how that might be something their students might enjoy. But a big part of that program was to demonstrate coaching. And Deb was always the first one to say, "I'll do that," which shocked me because I never liked to do that in front of a lot of people. She got a volunteer. It was a father of one of our students who described the fact that he wanted some coaching around how to better remember to take his shoes off when he goes into the house. Apparently this is something his wife had wanted him to do for a long time, and he had a hard time remembering to do that, even though he knew it was really important to her. Deb did this beautiful coaching session with him. Well, that was fall family weekend, and that spring, I was walking on campus during the spring family weekend, and who should come up but that couple who had been part of that program. And the father said to me, "Oh, where is Deb Hayward? I really want to see her. Would really like to talk to her and thank her because her coaching really turned the tide, and I'm now remembering to take my shoes off every day." So I share that just because I'd like you all to know that unfortunately Landmark is losing an incredibly skilled coach with the departure of Deb Hayward. And I, for one, wish her the very best, but I am sad to think that Landmark students will no longer be able to take advantage of that wonderful support and caring coach that Deb Hayward has been.
38, 40, 42.
Yeah, John, I just got a call from the bank and they closed down all of our college credit card accounts and they locked me out as an administrator. What am I supposed to do now?
Could you go ask Mark what we should do?
Sure, thank you.
Oh, where was I? Oh, God. Yes.
John, do you know the account numbers for the new summer programs?
Doesn't Mark usually provide those?
Yeah, I'll go check.
Could you ask him?
Yep, thank you. You're welcome.
Oof. Well, that's not much. Okay, clear. 2, 4, 6. Now what?
The ATM is out of money and my passcode isn't working.
Mark's not even here.
Mark's not here. I have a question about how to code a bill. Where's Mark?
Hey, John, I have a can of beans I usually give to Mark to count.
Well, I can count the beans.
All right, sir.
Oh my gosh, you know, Mark's on vacation today. I forgot. He's not going to be here.
I'm off to the golf course to meet Mark. Is there anything you want me to ask him?
Yes. Thank you, Mark Hagan.
Jeez. Jeff and I are here to talk about Liz Cooper. Liz was brought to this college close to 21 years ago by Simone Holton, who was trying to transform health services from what was sort of a closet to an actual functioning college health center. And she had worked with Liz in a community health program in Wilmington area and knew that she was the one she needed because she really respected Liz's work. She knew that Liz would be totally committed to her work, that she would bring a huge amount of professionalism and integrity to the job and an untiring spirit. And just a lot of compassion for our students, a great deal of compassion. And we certainly learned that working alongside of Liz. So in addition to her nursing duties, and she really did a whole lot more than someone else with her degree would do, it's important to know other things about Liz, like that she organized the nursing component of the high school program, and they all handed out 5 million pills on a daily basis to students. She created the scarecrow and pumpkin carving program for Family Weekend, which families and students really loved. She was trained as a tobacco cessation specialist. She and Simone organized our holiday party that we in Health and Counseling Services we didn't get to do that this last year, but that's thanks to Liz. And she was always, when there was flu season or something needing extra service, Liz would work overtime and if I tried to commiserate with her about how she was working such long hours, she'd be like, it's just what I do, it's, you know. So, Liz, we love you, and luckily we haven't had to miss you entirely because anybody who has been working here this year has been able to see her when you get tested because she's been helping out with testing, which has been rather nice. We got to delay saying goodbye. But we're really happy that she gets to spend time with her grandson who is here, and that she can putter about in her new gardens and settle into her new house and perhaps escape to the Cape for a little relaxation. I'm going to hand it over to Jeff here, who worked more closely with her.
Good morning. It's an honor to speak in front of you titans of Landmark, and I feel really honored to speak today. But I've come to talk about Liz. I first met Liz at a face-to-face interview. It was in student affairs. It was a very large group of people around a large conference table. And Liz made sure that everyone in the room knew that she had some questions to ask me. And she really wanted to know that I could do this job. You see, she'd shepherded the transition of 4 different providers in the short course of like 5 years. And so she really wanted to make sure I could do this. Her care and devotion to our students was so apparent in that interview. I knew right away that this woman with a crazy mane of hair was going to make a good teammate. I want to tell you how happy our students are when they see Liz at our testing events. It's so exciting to see them just light up. One student always refers to Liz as Liz Cooper, and every time he sees her, that's how he addresses her. One day, Liz said to me, "You know, Jeff, our job here is like a marriage. It's really important that we're a tight team because our job is really hard. So it's really important that we get along." And Liz really embodies what it means to be a great nurse. And I knew that the first time I met her. Thank you, Liz.
So I know many of us will say this a number of times, but this group of people deserves more than something in an early morning. I think a gala event, at least to express what everyone here has meant to me in my professional life, and I would like to be able to tell all of you that. But for right now, I am here to give tribute to Deb Hayward. And I cannot believe at 21 years, she falls at the top of this list. 21 years of service. She is at the beginning of this epic retiring class. However, for so many of us who worked with her, her legacy will endure as much as any. Deb dedicated her life to teaching, first abroad in Kenya, and then joining us in 2000 with the Reading and Study Skills Department. But Deb's dedication to students and her skills in organization and executing are undeniable. And so she very quickly moved on. Jeff Burgess called her an organizational dynamo, and everyone I spoke with called her legend. Deb gracefully and persistently pushes programs forward in all directions of the college. She was there when critical perspectives and self and community became what we now know as perspectives in learning. And she chaired that first-year studies department and led us to its peak productivity on campus and in the field. We influenced the field all over the country as she had us travel about and present and publish. In that role, she honored all of us as individuals, even those who we lost, setting up a scholarship or an award, an academic award for Rob Gunther Moore in 2013. Deb was instrumental in pushing Peg Alden's vision for global studies, and not just because of her experience in Africa, but because of her unbelievable competence and flexibility. And this is where the stories get funny. Her persistence with the Ghanaians, talk about her phone calls to confirm and ask questions. Spending a night in a Ghanaian hospital with a sick student because it was needed. Getting drenched and sticky, protecting the food stores through a treacherous journey through Botswana. She just did what it needed to be done. And it was always for the students. And Andrew Stein said he would catch himself with a dumb smile, admiring her excruciating patience with students at the end of a long day. In Putney, she helped us establish Landmark College as a tree campus, 2016. And she helped set up programs that have students fund the trees and our Arbor Day celebrations. Deb led with care and has left an indelible mark on the programs, in the people, and on the grounds of Landmark. Deb, Brian Young will not be the only one who looks at the trees around campus and thinks of you and the example you have led. Thank you for all that you have accomplished. We wish you love and joy as you move forward into what I can only imagine will be a very productive retirement. Thank you.
Susan, you're one of the many people that I think about when I think about Landmark, because as long as I've been here, you've been here, and you've filled many roles with your flexibility. You were an important part of the World Language Program, and I remember hearing you talk about some of the ways that you teach them and how important you felt that program was. You've been teaching ballroom dancing, but mostly I know you as a really critical part of the language intensive curriculum, particularly the Wilson program. You have been the backbone of the Wilson program since Sandra Marr retired, teaching more than half of the Wilson groups and shepherding many, many groups to complete the Wilson program, which is a bit of an accomplishment because it's not like taking Wilson. Wilson, for those of you who don't know, is a structured, sequential approach to teaching reading to students who are not reading up to the 6th grade level. And it's not very exciting. It works, it's really good. But what Susan did is she got students excited about Wilson. She had them really believing that Wilson would make a difference and seeing that Wilson would make a difference and persevering even when it involved some difficult choices as they moved on and became credit students as to what they were going to take. I'm really pleased to say that in her retirement, we're not losing her in that capacity, and she will continue helping us maintain the Wilson program. And I know that there are students who will be thrilled that she's doing that, because anytime a student was not able to continue with her for scheduling purposes, they were really upset that they were going to have a new Wilson teacher. I also know her as one of the primary advisors in the language intensive curriculum. And that's not necessarily an easy job because we're a slightly different program from some of the others, and it involves keeping track of lots of different details. But our students are still Landmark students, and I was always really impressed, Susan, with your dedication to your students, your hands-on advising, and the way that your students always knew that they were put first. I also want to commend Susan as a friend when I was really badly hurt a couple years ago. She was there for me on a really regular basis, giving me company and giving me support, and that was very, very appreciated. So you're going to be missed all around, Susan, but particularly in the language intensive curriculum, you will be missed.
This tribute is for Cindy Tolman, written by Dr. Kim Coleman, who couldn't be here today. Kim writes, "When Cindy Tolman retired last year, I was asked to sum up her career in a few words, which seemed like an unachievable goal. How do you summarize decades of hard work and dedication into a few words? When I thought of the best way to say a lot in a little, I thought of haiku. She made the joy and magic of the chemistry apparent to all." This year, I've been asked to contribute a tribute for today's celebration, which gives me a chance to elaborate, if only briefly. Having taxed my literary skills with the haiku, but still motivated to use poetry, I consulted Adrian Major for ideas. Oh boy. She suggested an elegant ghazal. The next, I should have read this, pronounced guzzle. Or perhaps a lovely, I was just given this morning, by the way, perhaps a lovely sonnet in iambic pentameter. I don't know what guzzle is, and sonnets are beyond my literary skill. However, we scientists are resilient and resourceful, so I hope she will appreciate my continued attempt at poetry. Parenthetically, apologies to the poets present. Here it goes. There once was a chemist at Landmark. Upon a pedagogical journey she embarked. Her classroom she flipped, and the students all quipped. Now learning chemistry is like a fun day at the park. Kim writes, thank you, Cindy, for making the art, magic, and above all, the mystery of chemistry available to all of us. Thank you, Cindy. Thank you, Kim. Cindy, you'll be missed. Thank you.
Where is Katherine Carmen? Katherine, I have the honor of speaking about your enduring work. Katherine first joined the faculty at Landmark College in 1996. She arrived with early career experience as a counselor at Johns Hopkins University and the Putney School. Over the next 25 years, Katherine served in many capacities, tutoring individual students, teaching courses in the classroom, collaborating with colleagues to develop courses and programs, and of course, advising hundreds of students. Katherine's counseling experience underpins her remarkable ability to work with students with complex challenges. Her intellectual knowledge of student development is complemented by a strong intuitive ability to meet her students where they are in a given moment. She epitomizes the qualities that make Landmark advising unique. She not only recognizes when students are facing complex challenges, she is diligent, thoughtful, constructive about working on these challenges in cooperation with students. Katherine always looks at a complex situation from many perspectives to reach the most apt solution. This is not only true in relation to her work with individual students, but also with colleagues. Katherine has served on numerous committees and as chair of the curriculum committee. In all of these roles, Katherine has been collaborative, thoughtful, intelligent, and strategic, always keeping with a mission to serve our students. Most of all, I think Katherine has a remarkable ability to be completely present in the moment. Katherine, I picture you savoring moments of retirement, biking, kayaking, gardening, and volunteering, as you have done for many years in our beloved community. Best of luck.
Hello, can you hear me? Steve Carmichael. You may have seen him rolling up to campus on his motorcycle or come across his ads in the digest for his carpentry work. Steve Carmichael has been part of the music scene in this area for over 30 years and has been part of the Landmark community for 25. Many of our students referred to him as Carmichael. Carmichael's teaching approach was truly valuable for us neurodiverse learners. He provided students the opportunity to explore and develop skills through writing journals and essays on their personal experiences. As a partial credit first-year student, Carmichael's teaching philosophy has been critical for my success. 2014 alumnus Patrick McKenna shared this quote. He gave me tools to generate my information on the paper and creating a sense of flow. He saw my worth ethic push me day in and day out. Mr. Carmichael, thank you for believing in my writing abilities. Well, Carmichael, our Landmark community will forever be grateful for your many contributions. I wish your retirement to be filled with many projects and performances. Congratulations on 25 years.
Of course, I wrote a speech and then forgot my glasses. Luckily, I practiced as instructed. It's an honor to pay tribute to my colleague and dear friend, Lena Jan. In preparing for today, I started a long brainstorm list. I did it over weeks, and it was long. It was on the corner of my desk, and I kept adding to it and adding to it and adding to it. And then I picked up the phone because, I was working remotely, and I called Lena, and I was kind of sussing out whether she was coming today or not. And she said, "Oh, I can't stand these events, all that gushing tribute." In my mind, I visualized ripping that long list right down the middle and tossing it up in the air like graffiti. And I start imagining, what would Lena like to remember? How would she like to remember her career? And it immediately came to me that Lena would appreciate being remembered for her strong values and her deep sense of integrity. It's true. Whether she was teaching, mentoring, rendering service, or supporting a colleague, she acted with integrity. Plus a dash of self-deprecating humor and a sprinkle of Swedish accent. She contributed so much to this college. There were things that most people don't even know she did. It's everything from course design to the STEP program, participating in the STEP program. She was director of advising. She worked for the Office of Study Abroad. She did so many things at this college. And everything she did with integrity. I once asked an elementary school teacher how he managed to teach the first grade for 40 years. We were standing in the middle of a grocery store at the time, and he said, "Look around." He said, "I have had the opportunity to influence every person in this store." And he said, and sometimes their parents, sometimes their children, and for some, even their grandparents and their grandchildren. That's all he needs say. That said it all. Lena, your diligence as a teacher has provided thousands of students with a key to unlock text, the meaning of text. And you've done it with respect, kindness, patience, understanding, and a sense of humor. This is your legacy. You gave your students the tools to shape their own destinies. Thank you. It's been an honor to work with you, and you'll always be my friend.
I wish there were Kleenex up here.
Where's Chris?
I'm really honored to give this tribute to Chris Arrieta. Chris, Christine, Chrissy, Mama Chris. Little touches of you remain everywhere. You are, in fact, a cornerstone of Landmark College. We see your smile as the spring arrives and the daffodils flower. We hear your laughter when some mischievous prank is played. Elf on the shelf, anyone? We see your dedication in the handwritten notes you produce for student files. We marvel at your hard-fought systems. Don't forget the red stickers. Your work to launch the first-year experience set us on solid ground and thinking about important ways to engage students and help them feel part of a community. Your approach to teaching critical thinking and study skills helps students understand the importance of multiple perspectives and careful analysis. Your inquiry into reading comprehension and executive function led us down the path of exploring Marianne Wolf's research and helped us design reading instruction to accommodate students' reading needs at many levels. But we miss most your cheerfulness and good-heartedness. The time you would take every day to see how people were feeling and what was happening in their lives. You would listen with interest and completely. People feel seen by you. This is why parents loved talking with you to discuss placement options, and why students scheduled for academic intervention with you wanted to continue meeting throughout the semester. That's not really the way it's supposed to work. This is incredible, given that the students you met with were often in academic intervention for not showing up to class. Your empathy helps students see you as an advocate who also would hold them accountable. Whether teaching, guiding, or directing, your honesty, kindness, reliability, and compassion shone through. May your retirement bring you more flowers, more laughter, and more fun.
Okay, Patrice. When I was asked to give this tribute, I was a little overwhelmed and started going all over campus trying to find information about you. Because I've known you well over the last decade, and the previous decades I was having a hard time digging up information. But Patrice, I think you're a true Renaissance woman. And I think the breadth and depth of your experiences as an educator and an individual serve as a testament to that. Since your arrival at Landmark in August of 1993, you have taught academic success courses and first-year seminars, as well as courses in writing, drawing, design, film, artistic and cultural journalism, Renaissance studies, and survival Italian, to name just a few, I think, in addition to all your extensive work in advising. You have also facilitated guided studies on topics as far-ranging as art therapy, the brain-body connection, and the relationship between expressive language, ADHD, and alcoholism. Your years of service in leadership roles at the college have been equally diverse. Director of Advising, Chair of the Art Department, and Director of the Study Abroad program in Italy for 6 years, to name just a few of the things you've done at Landmark. I had the opportunity to speak with our former colleague, Greg Cole, about his experience traveling and working as a faculty member with you in Italy. As he recounted the story of a student who was distraught because he had lost his passport in Perugia, Greg noted, Trish worked her magic with him because she knows how to work with people, and she is always compassionate. He also recounted the story of you almost getting arrested in Venice for trying to save the college money on tickets for water taxis. Another example of your extraordinary service to the college, right? I will always remember how you made working with some of our most challenging students look so effortless, which may help to explain how you've been able to talk me down from a number of ledges at Landmark over the years, and there have been a few, and why your gifts as an advisor have not always been given the high regard I believe they deserve. You are a dancer at heart, and as one artist noticed, dancing is creating a sculpture that is visible only for a moment. And I think that encapsulates a lot of your work at Landmark. We will all miss your generosity of spirit, your compassion, and the moments of clarity and authenticity you created among us. And I will forever miss your presence on campus as a dear colleague and friend.
We can speak of the teacherly dedication of every person retiring today, but what makes this place work effectively, wonderfully, perhaps even mysteriously, is that each of us approaches the art of teaching and advising in our own way, bringing to the task a part of ourselves that our students understand and appreciate. Ned Olmsted is one among many. He started at Landmark 31 years ago. In that 3-decade span, he has served as English department chair and taught a range of courses, including a cross-curricular environmental writing course that took Landmark students on a first-time ever trip to the Sonoran Desert. John Muir insisted that a book about nature is no substitute for the natural world. It is a pointer only, guiding us to where we need to be headed. Ned brought his classes out of doors at every opportunity, but he is too enamored of the printed word to believe that direct experience with the natural world can overtake or cancel reading and writing. Ned impelled students to find treasures both in language itself and in the living sensory world that language directs us to. Open your eyes, touch the tree bark, taste the wind, listen to the geese overhead. Open your eyes and apprehend what is there, and exult in the beauty of words, and in doing both, honor the manifold bonds between the worlds we create through language as well as creation itself. His students offer these testaments. My writing definitely got better under Mr. Olmsted's guidance, and he taught me, a city person, a lot about spending time outdoors that still keeps me thinking all these years later. Mr. Olmsted is passionate about the natural world and inspires students to discover their biophilic connection. He helped improve my writing tenfold. He's always there for his students no matter what. In his 31 years at Landmark, his fidelity to the practice of teaching and to his students never wavered, offering his kindness, his intelligence, his skill, his caring, all while maintaining intellectual rigor in class discussion and high standards for written work. This is the sharing of the self that marks an outstanding teacher, a person who genuinely has done what we say we do. He has changed lives.
Every time. One second. So we're honored to speak, or to be asked to speak about a woman that has dedicated 33 years of her life to our small community. We realized that finding the right words to describe how influential and important Denise has been to us and this community was challenging. Not for a lack of importance, but truly because she's made such an important imprint on our lives and so many others. We simply are grateful to have had her as our advisor, mentor, and today our coworker.
During her time at Landmark, she has chosen to help students find their true potential. Denise has supported students on their journeys to finding the person they wish to be in this world. Denise has held many different positions on campus. Denise was the program director for a study abroad trip to London, and students shared that they loved their experiences traveling with her. Denise spent many years teaching history, advising Phi Theta Kappa, and advising students. We all hear stories about how important the relationship at Landmark is between an advisor and a student. For me, this relationship, simply put, is what made my experience as a student so successful. I spent countless hours with Denise losing focus and losing confidence in myself and losing sight of why I was in college. Denise never doubted my abilities, and maybe that's all I ever really needed was someone to believe in me. Just like so many other students, Denise never stopped believing in them. Thank you for accidentally becoming my advisor, because without you, I'm certain I would be a whole lot less confident and successful today.
Denise, before I attended Landmark, I attended a community college. I think I met with my advisor maybe twice and kind of lost hope with that process. I knew I needed more support and what a community college did offer. I had no idea how important and influential working with an advisor could be until I met you, Denise. Denise, you gave me confidence to believe I could achieve a college education. You helped me stay focused. You helped me keep my chin up when times were tough. You never doubted me, even though I wanted to take 6 classes at a time, and everybody thought I was nuts. Denise, you helped me find my confidence and ability to achieve in education. You helped me learn to love learning again. I cannot thank you enough for the laughs, great conversations, tough love that was needed, confidence that you instilled in me. Denise and Mark, we hope that you get to travel the world, play golf, have a glass of wine in every corner of the world. Landmark is truly lucky to have you both pour your hearts into this community. We wish you an amazing retirement, and thank you both for being a part of our lives.
This is incredibly overwhelming. It's really an incredible event, and I know it's cliche to say it's a privilege and an honor, but in this moment, in front of these retirees, it is truly a privilege and an honor to speak in front of you. And I wanted to take a second and just say that this moment is an opportunity to recognize story, that there are so many great, powerful, life-changing stories that happened right here with all of you, the retirees, and everyone else who have carried the torch of Landmark College. Us, who will still be here, have some incredibly big shoes to fill. And while we're simply just kind of shocked to actually see other humans in front of us today and be at a large gathering, I'd like to ask everyone to just take a moment today to make sure that you share a story, a memory, something from the past with a friend here today. There's so many great stories and there's such great fun. And there's so much Landmark history here today, so please share a story with someone. Where were you in June of 1988? Well, here on campus, Landmark College brought in a dozen new faculty, and they were put through a grueling several-hour interview process by a person by the name of Jim Baucom. This group in June of 1988 was actually trained by Dr. Charles Drake, the founder of Landmark College. And there were long lessons of teaching, reading, and oral fluency. And I was told there was a steep learning curve with learning IBM computers. And of course, this group was taught the Landmark treasure, the Master Notebook. Dean Burgess was assigned to teach reading and study skills and do tutorials. Oh my, how things have changed. So Jeff, I did some snooping, and from Liza Burns, over the years, Jeff went from being my colleague to my department chair, to my Australia study abroad partner, to my dean. But most importantly, Jeff, you became my friend. Your steady footing, open ears, and quick smile have shaped so many of us here at Landmark. As they say in Australia, easy as, mate, easy as. Peg Alden said it best, Jeff, your contributions to study abroad in Ireland, Australia, New Zealand, Ghana, Botswana allowed the college to literally push out into new territories. Your contributions at this college will be missed. You, Jeff, learned the Landmark ways from point zero, and I think Nicole Goodner McFarland speaks for all of us when she said, Jeff had such a profound effect on me just by never giving up. He changed my whole life. From tutor to dean and everything in between, you were the founder of the student newspaper, The Independent, and Voices, and WLMC Radio, and you were instrumental in the process, if you turn around and look behind you, in the Nicole Goodner McFarland STEM building, the very first academic building ever built here at Landmark College, so we thank you for that. Clearly, you inspired all of your colleagues and students alike, and it's why the Professional Studies Department decided to honor your work here at Landmark by giving annually the award, an award in your honor. And I would like to read the award. The Jeff Burgess Communication, Entrepreneurship, and Leadership Award will be given annually to the student who has demonstrated strong communication and community leadership through initiative, diligence, and process. Jeff, this award embodies you and will honor your Landmark journey for many years to come. We love you. We will miss you, and we will try not to call you, but we might need to. For all your contributions, on behalf of all of us, Jeff, we thank you.
Ann Wheeler and I began working together here at Landmark in the far-off summer of 1986, Landmark's first summer. If Ann were still with us, I imagine her somewhere in the back of the tent, listening to this and saying, "Is that really me you're talking about?" As her good friend Steve Glover said, Ann would effortlessly exhibit a wicked dry sense of humor, delivered with a deadpan face reminiscent of Buster Keaton. She could out Buster Keaton. Ann kept us all laughing and it had an unusual knack for lobbing a quirky question out during countless meetings, some that just made us laugh, but others that opened up important and overlooked avenues of discussion. But I think what all of us valued most about Anne was the way that she modeled keeping her attention solidly on the student before her. Year after year, student after student, calmly, kindly, wisely, and with that mischievous element that was a gift to us all.
Hello. Let me tell you a little bit about Tom Hinckley. Tom is contrarian. He's ornery. He's kind of anti-authority and can have a very sharp tongue. Most of you all know this already. Let me give you a quick example. Back when the science department was over in the Fab, Tom was the department chair for several years, and there was a photo of himself on his door, a picture of himself with a big sort of sneer with his nose. He probably still has that picture. And underneath it was a little note, a little sticky note that said, "The answer is no. Don't even think about coming to me with a problem." So all this is true, but these things really are a veneer for the true Tom Hinckley. The true Tom Hinckley has a huge heart. He has a very kind spirit, a very keen mind, and an enduring essence that I treasure. I first met Tom in 1988 at Keene State College, a summer program called Upward Bound. And I was an impressionable graduate student doing an internship with Upward Bound, and Tom was the biology teacher for a group of high school students, and I was placed under his tutelage. And we collected pond organisms from the local pond and checked them out in the lab, and I knew immediately that Tom and I were a good match, because he likes critters, he likes to explore the world, likes to take students out to discover things, just like I do. So thank you, Tom, for that experience in 1988. And also, Tom told me about a place called Landmark College, because he worked here at that time during the academic year. And so that was the first time I ever heard of Landmark College. And somehow, 2 years later, my journey led me here, and I started work here in 1990. And joined Tom in the science department at Landmark College, the very small science department. So back then, the science department was in the basement of the library. There was a lab in there, for many of you don't know that. Eventually we moved over to Fab, and now we have this lovely building where we work from in the STEM building. So Tom and I have shared that experience of being in the science department for 31 years together. Tom is what I call a Renaissance educator. He knows a lot about a lot of things. Let me give you a quick list of what he has taught here. He has taught biology classes, geology, geography, physical science, evolution, math, ecology, aquatic ecology, and geography, and I'm probably missing a few. So those who aren't scientists would probably not think that's too great, but us scientists, we tend to be specialists. And Tom is a generalist. He knows a lot about a lot of things, and we're going to miss that in our department. Whether it's sharing with students the joy of the Iapetus ocean, or Australopithecus robustus, or benthic macroinvertebrates, Tom is committed to sharing scientific inquiry and the beauty of scientific discovery with our students, and he does it with compassion and dedication for all the learners that walk in his door. Tom's office has been next to mine for the past several years, and so we see each other a lot, and we share stories about our personal lives, and we have over many years. I'm going to miss all those critter sharing stories, animal tracking stories, what rock is this kind of stories, and just talk about our families, our kids, life in Putney. Just in the past few days, as I was thinking about what to say here, I had an insight. I think I'm going to be kind of lost when Tom departs, and many of us probably feel the same way about this class of retirees. I think it's going to be hard for me to come back next fall and Tom is not going to be there. I think I'll be able to adapt, but I want to let you know, Tom, that you're a special person and I love you. Thank you. So I salute you, Tom, and I salute all the retirees. May you all have glorious retirements. Thank you. Tom would like to say a few words.
Jennifer Lawrence there. Wow. Hi, everybody. How you doing? You didn't think you were going to get out of this without hearing something from me, huh? I've been working here for 35 years, teaching here for 70 consecutive semesters where I've done at least one class. That's a lot of teaching. I suppose that means that I actually like teaching. And that's true, I do. I do. You get to tell people things. You get to show them cool stuff. You get to take them places. You can show them how to do stuff. I really like that. You all know what I'm talking about. You've been teaching. That's half the reason you're a teacher, because you get to tell people stuff. All right? Get to talk. I'm going to keep my remarks short and revolve it around a quote. Nobody would ever mistake me for a New York Yankee fan. But I am a fan of one particular New York Yankee. And a little more than 80 years ago, he gave a little farewell speech in front of a large crowd at Yankee Stadium. And he said, "I consider myself to be the luckiest man on the face of the earth." Now the baseball fans out there are going, "What? What? Did he just compare himself to Lou Gehrig? Lou Gehrig? The Iron Horse, pride of the Yankees?" Well, yes, he did. He did. Because I am really lucky. That's how I'm feeling. I'm feeling so lucky. For 35 years, I've gotten to work with such a wonderful group of people. Oh, so many of you are out here. Been working with you for 10, 15, 20, 35 years, some of you. I am so lucky to have such a talented and dedicated group of people out here. I see so many of you, oh my God, that I've worked with. I'm so lucky. And I've been so lucky to work with hundreds, many, many hundreds of students, some of whom are here. Glad to see you. And I've learned so much from them. They've been my inspiration for 35 years, how I can teach for 70 consecutive semesters. It's easy. It's easy when you've got students like that. And I must admit, for more than 35 years, I have taken this journey with a very special person. Your own Dean of Education that you're very, very lucky to have, my dear wife, Jill. And so you're wondering, how is that? He just compared himself to Lou Gehrig, but I'm not sorry. I've also been very lucky to have spent 35 years on the journey raising 3 kids, the third of which just graduated yesterday from UVM. Woo-hoo! 3 down, 0 to go. That is so cool. So, I know I just compared myself to Lou Gehrig, but honestly, I think I'm a lot luckier than Lou Gehrig. And I love you all, and I'm going to miss you all. Take care.
I think being a founding faculty gives you the right to join me up here, Kathy. Kathy? I asked a few people that remember Kathy for a long time, 4 stories about Kathy, and they gave me stories, and then they came back and they retracted those stories. Lots of contradictions, lots of lapse of memory, and at the same time I had the pressure of 2 minutes, which I have to say, I can't condense Kathy into 2 minutes, but it won't be 2 hours, I promise. Kathy came to Landmark College in 1985 with something quite unique. She had a background in learning disabilities and was trained as a consulting teacher, which she put to great use in her tenure here. Working closely with Kathy over the years, the one attribute that rises to the top when describing her would be professionalism. Her deep respect for students and her colleagues was ever present in the work she did. Kathy displayed her expertise in many ways as an academic advisor, tutorial supervisor, from mastering early computer skills to having individual laptops. From creating a video presentation on Landmark's teaching principles to a radio interview with myself for the Landmark Oral History Project. Kathy was a great collaborator. She joined her expertise and talents with others for conference presentations, professional writing, curriculum development, and the design and delivery of original research. In addition, she served on countless committees and task forces. Maybe I shouldn't have asked you up here. Over the years, all of these contributions played a significant role in the development of Landmark College and furthered our collective understanding of learning disabilities. Kathy's work in the Academic Consulting Office, better known as ACO, just like a moment, sorry, was later integrated into academic advising. She furthered her skills as a certified professional coactive and ADHD coach. When she put her work into academic coaching later, working with Kathy over the course of 36 years, I got to know her beyond her professional life. Kathy and her young son, Adam, lived on campus and were as much a part of daily life as the students themselves. We stood shoulder to shoulder, watching the Challenger disaster unfold. And then we processed the events of 9/11. We grieved together for both students and colleagues. Among them were Drew Edelgy, Rob Gunther Moore, and Catherine Barrett. Kathy's compassion for the world and those within the school community was on full display. Over the years, many have asked what makes the college so special, or, in their words, what's in the secret sauce? My answer to that lies in Kathy and all those celebrating today who have worked tirelessly for the success of students and this unique university. Deep appreciation, and you will all be missed. Thank you.
44 years of teaching, 12,926 days since Dr. Jim Bauckham started at Landmark College in January of 1985. 2,269 students taught in 212 courses. I often refer to Dr. Bauckham, or as I like to call him, Bauckham, as a legend. Of course, he's too modest to ever consider himself one. Though today, more than any other day, I want to make him believe it. You see, Bauckham isn't just one of the greats. He's the Landmark College faculty GOAT with 2 T's. Greatest of all time teachers. Bauckham taught for 10 years at the Landmark College School in Massachusetts before becoming part of the team that opened Landmark. He was the first faculty dean hired and proceeded to hire the first 28 faculty. Bauckham was interviewed some years back reflecting on this time. He said he began putting together curriculums and hiring faculty to start the educational program, which was rather challenging since there were no students yet. Somehow he and that new team made history that year and started a one-of-a-kind college. Though it wasn't easy and there wasn't a blueprint, Bauckham's leadership helped, and by the end of the week, before classes began, faculty and staff were doing everything from painting walls to assembling the library catalog. The college's opening was delayed slightly because of a fire in the factory producing the college's furniture. Oh, and one last piece. Opening weekend was hit by Hurricane Gloria, and this was just the first year. Fast forward to another special time, August of 2003. There was a somewhat defiant student who knew that Landmark College couldn't help her. She was also certain that her said LDs were not accurate, and this was just, and since she was never wrong and her parents were making her attend this college, she decided she'd only need to pack for 3 weeks because that was the amount of time that she needed to prove that she was right. She went to her first week of classes, and wouldn't you know it, Dr. Bauckham was one of her teachers. If you haven't figured it out already, that girl was me. Chris Arrieta and Jim Bauckham changed my world that first week of classes. They made me realize that my disadvantage is not just an advantage, but a superpower. Changing the students' worldview is not an easy task, but somehow they made it a daily occurrence. There are so many students he has helped over the years. Jenny Lee Samaro Karan, an alumna and current teacher in New Jersey, said, at the end of any exam, Professor Bauckham would walk students out the door, shake their hands, and thank them for coming to class that day. I felt so special and supported. When it comes to my students, I want to be that role model to my students, just how he was to me. And Chloe O'Hare, also an alumna and current teacher in Washington, said, whether he knows it or not, he gave me the greatest gift of all. He believed in me, and even more so, he showed me how to believe in myself. So, I leave you with one more thought, Dr. Bauckham. Feel free to grab your 2-column notebook to write it down. Remember this moment, the moment I likely embarrassed you, but the moment you recognized that you are legendary. You are my most favorite faculty member of all time, and thousands of others would agree. Thank you for your passion, commitment, and inspiration that has allowed Landmark College and the field of learning differences to become what it is today. We will continue to grow because of your efforts. From all of us, thank you.
kind of sad today. So as your droll president, I have to tell you a funny story. If you want to hear it, have I ever told you the Ned Olmsted story? Do you want to hear the Ned Olmsted story? Yeah, here, you see, the seal? See the seal here? The sunrise and the mountain and the path and everything? This is a true story. Imagine at the top of that mountain, contemplative Ned Olmsted by himself, taking in the view on the mountain. And then down at the bottom, car parks. Someone gets out with a couple kids and a dog and goes up the path. Gets to the top of the mountain, breaks through the brush. It's me and my kids. And there's Ned. You should see the look on his face. He's like, Jesus Christ, I can't get away from Peter Eden. And you know how diplomatic he is. He couldn't hide it. He was like, I can't get away. It was a funny story. It was very nice. But I promised him I'd never ruin his time again on Pitcher Mountain. So I'll look for your car next time, Ned. This has been a wonderful event. We do have one more speaker before we have a special ceremony, within the ceremony. And that final speaker is Kathy D'Alessio. Kathy.
Well, here we are, and I will keep this brief. 36 years ago, Landmark College opened its doors to 55 employees and 77 students. And here today are colleagues with whom I have had the honor of working within some configuration of these 36 years. We are not only colleagues, but lifelong friends, as in many ways we have grown up together. This is the gift that Landmark has given us. The longevity of our career in one place is extraordinary, really, by today's standards. We stayed because it was here where we found a home and a purpose. So to my colleagues and to my friends, each one of you has made a significant difference in the lives of hundreds of students who you have taught, advised, and coached. Our success as a college would not have been the same without your dedication, your compassion, your innovative thinking, your resilience, and your flexibility to create and to make change happen. However, more than all of this has been your humility to learn from each student in your charge and to genuinely love what you do. We were lucky to find a job we love so that we never felt like we worked a day in our life. Finally, I will read the first stanza of a poem by John O'Donohue, aptly entitled For Retirement. Quote, "This is where your life has arrived after all the years of effort and toil. Look back with graciousness and thanks on all your great and quiet achievements." End of quote. The imprint of our work will remain our legacy, and we leave knowing we did a good job. Congratulations, retirees and my friends.
Thank you, Kathy. Jim Balcom, can you come up, please? Jim? Yes, you have to. You have to, my friend. Jim, for your significant contributions. Jim, you are truly a pioneer for Landmark College In '84, you were recruited by LC's first president, Jim Oliver, appointed academic dean and tasked with building a curriculum and recruiting faculty. You provided expert guidance and intentional support during Landmark's formative years. You were in many ways an architect and an engineer as well as an educator. You've not only understood young students who learn differently, you've been a champion for these individuals. We are all here today in large part due to your vision, commitment, your talents, your intelligence, and your fundamental goodness. Although you retired from Landmark College, you're still connected as our third current Landmark College Professor Emeritus. Jim, for your significant contributions you made within the field of educational psychology and the life-changing effects you've had on Landmark College students, we're bestowing upon you something we feel is important, but nothing can be fully commensurate with the effect you've had on this college, Jim, and countless people. I asked Jim a second ago when he came up on the stage after Sydney's wonderful speech, I said, "Do you have a doctorate?" And he said, "No." Well, guess what you do now? By the authority of the Board of Trustees of Landmark College, it is my pleasure that I confer upon you, James Balcom, the degree of Doctor of Humane Letters, honoris causa. This hood with which you have been invested and this diploma which I place in your hand are the visible symbols of your membership in the Society of Scholars, to all the rights and privileges of which I declare you entitled. Dr. Balcom, thank you for all you've done for Landmark College. Now, before you say something, Jim, if you choose to say something, if you want to, we're going to hear a few words from Landmark College's first president, Jim Oliver. Jim, come on up.
A terminal degree. Goodness. Most impressive.
Don't use the word terminal.
Well, it's been wonderful listening to these terrific tributes. And as I was listening to them, I was looking behind the speakers here at the new, in my mind, logo. And it occurred to me that there are people here who remember the landlocked lighthouse. Remember the landlocked lighthouse? Yeah. We didn't have any Latin on it. What does the Latin mean? I'm just curious. Know thyself, excellent. So in January of 1985, when Jim Balcom, age maybe 32, something like that, okay. Started work as the academic dean and the second full-time employee at Landmark College. It was a great relief to me because I knew that the educational program would be in great hands. Of course, actually, there wasn't an educational program. There were no instructors, there were no students, materials, curriculum, policies, or much of anything else. Just some derelict buildings, some ideas, lots of blank spaces, both literally and figuratively. And to arrive to where we are now today, it seems miraculous. How did it happen? It's a long story involving impressive efforts that we've heard something about today of all the people who are being honored here and many others as well. Each of you deserves to have your story told at length, but time is short today, and I have a particular mission of speaking about Jim Balcom briefly. The qualities that Jim has shown over the years were critical, obviously, to the success of the college. Intelligence, energy, unflappability, imagination, confidence, humility, dependability, humor, stamina, organization, follow-through, empathy, inspiration, wisdom. Each of us could provide endless concrete examples of how Jim has manifested each of these and many more qualities over the years. Now, a successful college requires many things: attractive buildings, financial support, a mission statement, a functional sewage system, which is something I learned about in my first months here, a skilled staff of every sort, successful students, but most of all, it needs a heart and a soul. And what the heart and soul of an institution can be hard to define, but I think most of us know it when we see it. If it were possible to see into Landmark College's heart and soul, right into the center, we would find there Jim Baucom. All of us who have been part of Landmark College join in thanking you, Jim, for the extraordinary things you've done, but most of all, for the person you have been. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much, Peter and Jim, for those kind comments, and Sydney, thank you. People have described me as unflappable in the past, but I'm flapped. I can tell you that. I started my teaching career 45 years ago down at Landmark School. And that first year, I had no idea what I was doing, not even a clue. And I finished my career last spring, the final 6 weeks, after 45 years, in my son's old bedroom, teaching online, and I had no idea what I was doing. Not even half a clue. So I think there's a theme there. In between there, Landmark changed my life. We know it changes students' lives, but it also changes the lives for most of us who teach here. And you can't teach here for as long as most of the retirees today and not be changed by just the miracles that you witness every day. And there's a second theme to the struggles that I had with teaching my first year and the last 6 weeks, was that I got so much help and support from other people. And I think all of us retiring today felt that all along, that there was always so much support, not just for students, but for us as well. So thank you to all of those people. Thank you for Jim for hiring me all those many years ago to be the dean. To Jim and Carolyn, both, who have been an inspiration and role models for me since 1976 when I first met them. Peter for the emeritus and the honorary doctor. Wow. To all the wonderful colleagues that I've worked with over the years, and our co-founder, Kathy DeLessio, here today, and other co-founders as well. All the colleagues, to my 2 kids who are joining me here today, Caitlin and Tim Baucom, who've always been a source of strength and joy and have found their own remarkable paths now. And most of all, my wife Pam, who's always supported me unconditionally over the years, even during those first really stressful and difficult years of the college. You always believed in me, even when I didn't necessarily. So thank you. And to all the students I've had over the years, thank you for inspiring me, challenging me, making me laugh, and just teaching me how to be a better person. Thank you.
Thank you, Jim. And thank you all. You'll always be part of this community. I hope that all of the retirees come back routinely and stay connected with us. You're just so important to this institution, and I can't imagine life without you. I know we need to move forward, but you're welcome. You know that. Come back all the time, please. We need you. We need you.